If you're thinking of buying a motorhome but you've been put off by the prices of brand new ones, I've got some great news. There are literally thousands of used motorhomes out there and some real bargains amongst them. Now, buying a used motorhome is very similar in many ways to buying a used car, but there are some subtle differences. For example, when you buy a used car, you don't generally need to test for damp or make sure that the cooker works. So, here are a few tips to bear in mind when you go out looking for a used, the dealers prefer me to say pre-loved, motorhome. Whether you decide to buy a motorhome from a dealer or privately, a really good place to start is right here, the internet. All the dealers have their own websites on which they have most of the motorhomes that they're selling, both new and used. And there are classified places where you can see lists of motorhomes. And finally, there's eBay, where, believe it or not, they have thousands, the last time I looked, motorhomes for sale. Like this one, for example. Starts first time, runs beautifully. No mechanical faults that I'm aware of. And here it is, in the flesh. It's a 1989 Eldis AutoQuest based on a Talbot chassis. It's on eBay at the moment and the current highest bid is just over £3,500, an absolute bargain. But no matter how cheap the motorhome you're thinking of buying, you really have got to carry out some basic checks. Now in this case, this is a Talbot, so the first thing I'm going to look for is rust. And you know, there really isn't any at all. I know that it's actually been taken out, removed, and new metal put back. The man who's selling it told me. Then, look for any damage outside. There's some up here where obviously someone's driven into something they shouldn't have done. You've got to make sure it's been fixed properly. Check the windows, check that they open, check that there's no really serious discolouring or cracks. And then, very important, check the engine. Check for oil leaks, check the water, check the battery. In this case, check the spare tyre as well. So that's the engine, underneath, the sides. Let's look on top. It all looks very clean and solid, and there's a solar panel too. Now, inside. Now then, with a vehicle of this age and this type, the first thing that you have to check is damp. Ideally, get yourself a damp meter. A quick tap tells me it looks okay. Then, I suggest you make yourself a list of all the services and all the equipment in the motorhome, and then check that they all work. The cooker, the 12 volts, the water pump, the fridge, the heater, everything. Make sure that everything works exactly as it should. Especially, don't forget the 230 volts. Don't forget the toilet cassette system. Make sure that everything is working, and if you're not sure about anything, then check again. If you're not buying from a dealer, there's another thing that you have to be really, really careful of. Make sure that the person selling you the motorhome really does own it. And also make sure that the motorhome is exactly what it purports to be. Because if it isn't, or if you discover after you've handed over your money that there's something wrong with the vehicle, well, tough. When you're buying privately, it's caveat emptor, buyer beware. You probably won't find a vehicle of that vintage at a dealer's. They prefer to stick to motorhomes that are 10, at most 15 years old. But you'll still get some real bargains and a variety of models. For example, here we've got folding roofs, we've got low profiles, we've got coach builts. There's a Burstner over there. It's less than 5 years old and less than £30,000, which is a really good deal. And of course there are other advantages of dealing with a reputable, and I stress the word reputable, dealer too. For a start, you know that when you pick the vehicle up, it will have been thoroughly checked and serviced. You'll get a warranty. And if something should go wrong, even when the warranty is expired, a reputable dealer will make sure that you and your motorhome are well looked after. But before you actually go and start looking at motorhomes, check your paperwork. Does your licence allow you to drive the motorhome that you want to? Does your age mean that you're restricted to under 3.5 tonnes? Are there enough seats in the motorhome for you to carry the number of passengers you want to? Get all that sorted out and then go and buy yourself a motorhome. You've got no excuse not to. I'll see you on the road, and don't forget to wave.